A new government report warns antibiotics are being misused, especially in hospitals. The CDC says doctors at some of those facilities are prescribing antibiotics 3 times as often as other hospitals, and that's putting patients at risk for deadly superbug infections. More than 23,000 Americans die every year from this drug-resistant bacteria. Dr. Holly Phillips joins us at the table with more on that. Hello, Dr. Holly. Could I just say in that shot, you sitting against those orange pillows was very pretty. That has nothing to do with what you're here to talk about, but you look great. So is this a case of doctors and hospitals back away from the prescription pads? What are they doing wrong?
You know, it really is. 2 things are going wrong in the hospital setting. Number 1, antibiotics are being overprescribed, and what the report shows is that that's largely unregulated. About half of patients before they leave the hospital are given an antibiotic, and in many of those cases they didn't need it. The other thing that's happening is when antibiotics are needed, doctors and hospitals aren't necessarily making the best choices. We're reaching for the big guns, the strongest antibiotics, when something more narrow spectrum or basically weaker would have the same effect.
And this has now become a real emergency situation, right?
It has. It's all about superbugs, which we've heard about before. These are drug-resistant bacteria where nothing available to us can treat them. And what the CDC says is that superbugs are emerging faster than new antibiotics to treat them. But what I like about today's report is that it actually is offering a feasible solution. Instead of just saying, you know, this is a big problem, the CDC is looking for $30 million over the next 5 years to basically set up labs in different regions of the country so that the moment a new strain emerges, we can be all over it and eradicate it before it spreads out into the community.
Is that enough to do the job, you think?
Well, I certainly hope so. The CDC says it's going to save about $1 billion going forward. So it's a feasible solution, not cheap, but hopefully it'll work.
But Holly, don't you think this is not just about hospitals and doctors, but this is also a lot about patients? We've all gotten so used to every time we have a sniffle or a cold, calling our doctor,
give me a drug,
give me a drug, give me a Z-Pack, you know, for 5 days or whatever it may be, when in fact it may just be a virus that antibiotics won't cure.
Absolutely. Welcome to my world. As a general internist, this is exactly what I deal with kind of day in and day out. Obviously, doctors are responsible here, right? We do need to step away from the prescription pad, but that's done a lot more easily when patients, we're all on the same page. Not a day goes by that I don't have a patient who says, I know what I need an antibiotic, I'm not leaving your office until I get one.
So what are you telling us to do?
You know, antibiotics are really only used for bacterial infections. If you have the cold or flu, the vast majority of the time it'll go away on its own.
Dr. Holly Phillips, thank you.
Great to be here.